Hi everyone, it's Chill Tuesday, and I have decided that today what we're going to do is paint our nails and talk about boys. Now, some of you might know, I'm just going to be painting them black. We have this Rimmel London. Sorry, none of you will know that. I'm interrupting myself. It's Rimmel London black. So I'm just going to paint them black because I tend to not paint my nails a whole lot, just because it's a lot of effort, and I'm not very good at it. So what I'll probably do is like press my thumb or finger against the edge here, so I get a bit of like surface tension and stuff. I don't know. You could probably use more practice, but yeah. As some of you may know, I'm gay. Dun dun dun. So obviously I love talking about boys. Obviously I have a boy all my own. His name is Ben, and he was the first boy I ever went on a date with. First boy I ever went on a date with. He was my first boyfriend. Never had a boyfriend or even been on a date before him. So yeah, I guess I have a 100% success rate, right? But we actually like to talk together about guys we fancy and stuff like that, like a pair of old gossips. So, you know, if we see someone in the street who we think is fit or whatever, like, we'll talk about it. And I like sharing that with him. But, I think in terms of like cute boys, right, I do tend to like older. But, there are exceptions. Like Ben's 6 months younger than me, which at this point is, you know, we're essentially the same age. Oh, I think you need to do this with a bit of courage. You can't keep going over it or you end up with these lumpy bumpies. And I've ended up with some of that here. So I like, say like in terms of actors, I like older actors. I like, you know, yeah, David Harbour types. I'd also think that Hugh Jackman was really, really good looking in Wolverine. You know, in Wolverine, there's that scene where, like, there's the young clone of him and the real him, and they cross paths on the stairs, and the young clone, like, gets this close to his face. I was like, kiss him. Kiss him. I'd watch that. There was some tension there, right? There was some tension. I'm not making that up. Obviously, the Hemsworths are pretty. I think that every time I watch Hunger Games, how I'm like, I feel like there are certain guys who are hotter in motion than on their Google search results. And obviously we're talking celebrity hot here, right? Which I think is like a very different thing from normal person hot. Because obviously all of the men I'm about to describe are very attractive men. But, you know, I think people like Hugh Jackman, Liam Hemsworth, Chris Hemsworth to some extent as well. Like, if you Google search them, it doesn't do them much justice. Doesn't do them much justice at all. Like, they look much hotter in their movies, right? I also think that's the same for like Gerard Butler, who, like, if you are a avid watcher of this channel, you know I've carried a torch for years and years and years. Since I was a baby gay, basically, since I was closeted, really. And I don't think that he photographs well. I think that when you're like watching him in Lara Croft or whatever, he's very, very attractive in that. And also Geostorm. And if you haven't seen Geostorm, I did a little watch. I did a little watch of it on my channel, so you can. I give you the gist of it in that video. It's like a bad good film. Gerald Butler's character, Gerard. Did I say Gerald, or did I just make it sound weird? Gerard Butler's character invented a machine that can control the weather. But he's very handsome in that. But I remember finding out a little bit of trivia. Because in the film, I think he's visibly like bulkier in certain scenes than he is in others. And apparently it's because there were reshoots when he was like bulking up, getting musclier for another film. I think as well, Lord of the Rings, right? There's not a lot of fitties in Lord of the Rings, but I'm an Aomer fan. I know that he's basically like the jock of those films. He's the jock. But I don't know, I just kind of like that, okay? Kind of like that. He's like, you know, riding around with his Riders of Rohan, with his lads. I think that Aragorn is a bit too intense. And Legolas is a bit too pretty. Gimli is a bit too old. Oh, Faramir is very pretty. Very pretty. You know who else I'm really into? And I hope he's not problematic, but that Jake Johnson from New Girl. He's really pretty. And there's something about his character as well that I just find really attractive in New Girl. And I don't know what it is. It's probably just because he's a dickhead. I'm really terrible at like staying within the lines on this, but I tend to just like wait for it to dry, and then once it's dry, I can use like the edge of some nail clippers or something, and just scrape off what's got on the skin, if you know what I mean. Otherwise, if I start using that stuff, like otherwise, if I start using that stuff, it ruins the job on the nails. Okay, so I've gone for a second coat, and I think it's dragged some of it. I really don't know what I'm doing. These are going to look so dodgy by the time I'm done. Are you supposed to just do one coat? Do you know? I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing. Okay, I've just put one very thin coat on all of them. And then we can build on it, I think. Is that a thing? I don't end up with polish that's too thick because of the layers. God, these all look so terrible. Part of why I don't paint my nails is because I suck at it. And a lot of things I suck at, I just don't go back to. Don't go back to. Who are some other boys I like? I like, let's think about Star Wars guys. Oh, well, obviously Oscar Isaac. He is very cute in Ex Machina as well. And also there's this video of him like on a rooftop singing and playing a guitar that I watch on YouTube like maybe once every 3 months because it just like reminds me how some people are just so talented and pretty. But I also think he as well, like the still image doesn't do him justice, you know? Seeing pictures of Oscar Isaac is not the same as watching Oscar Isaac. Whereas like John Boyega, I think photographs really well and is also very good looking in motion. He's very good looking. And also he's just like cool. John Boyega and Oscar Isaac are both just so cool. And it makes me happy that they get on. Makes me very happy. God, these are just horrible. I'm glad that the camera is quite far away because if you could see this, I'd be very embarrassed. I'm kind of painting knowing that I'm going to be scratching the edges off afterwards. And also knowing that I need the practice. Maybe I should have done a Christmas nail, right? Christmassy. I'll probably end up like, even after these have dried, getting frustrated with this later and just taking it off. More room for practice then, I guess, right? What other boys do I like? The thing is these days, the world is just so full of people who are so pretty that it's just like an oversaturation, right? You don't need to commit any of them to memory because 5 minutes down the line there's gonna be one right in front of you. I like Chris Hemsworth. But also like, I think Chris Hemsworth would be really hot. I mean, he's hot now, obviously, but like Chris Hemsworth, could you imagine how hot he would be if he just put on like 2 stone? He could keep like his current amount of muscle or whatever, but if he was just a bit thicker set, you know? But mostly, the Marvel leading men don't really do it for me. Like, I know it's like a meme level thing to just be in love, for people just to be in love with Chris Evans, but I never really got that. He's never really seemed otherworldly to me, you know? And like, in terms of having good bodies, I think that for Hollywood actors, I know that they have to work super hard for their bodies. I'm certainly not discrediting how hard they work to get jacked or whatever, but I think that like, because being jacked in Hollywood is a given, it's substantially less interesting on someone than it used to be, right? Like, David Harbour in Stranger Things when he's dancing in the hut. Is he dancing in that towel or is he just in the towel? I don't know. But he doesn't have a Hollywood body, right? But it was a very, very attractive scene to me. Very attractive scene. I think that this brush is starting to get a bit stuck together itself. How do you break that up? Oh no! I've pressed one of them. I've pressed one of them! Whoops. These look so ugly. One of them I've missed down one of the sides. I think, no I don't. No I don't. Nothing to say. Nothing to say. Head empty. You don't realise how many ridges your nails have on them until you're painting like this, do you? I suppose what I should probably be buying is a, is it called a top coat? Is that why these look so scrappy all the time? I've never been able to get my nails looking like nice nails, you know? They're just so textured, they're not polished. It's the trick I like to use a lot, because I'm really slopping it on there now and it seems to kind of level out. Maybe that's the trick, I just wasn't using enough. Just wiping it all off. That'll be interesting to find out. Getting down the edges, that's where I always miss. I don't go right to the bottom. You're supposed to let it dry more in between. Nobody ever teaches you this stuff, do they? I suppose it's probably something girls get from mums, right? No real reason me growing up having to learn about this stuff. Right, so let's name a couple more hot guys, seeing as this was supposed to be painting our nails and talking about boys. Oscar Isaac, John Boyega. I'm thinking of TV shows, that's why I've gone from like Lord of the Rings to Star Wars, Stranger Things. What else do I watch? I do think that Henry Cavill has an insanely good face, but also, you know how some people, obviously he's very good looking, obviously, but like, you know how some people can be so good looking that their face isn't interesting? Do you know what I mean? I don't think there's anything interesting about his face. In that sense, like, you can really appreciate that Henry Cavill has a lot of like aesthetic beauty, right? But I don't like have a crush on him. His face doesn't really have character. Does that make sense? It's not to me. He just seems to be pretty. I haven't watched The Witcher though. I was just thinking more superhero movies. Jason Momoa I'm very, very, very into. I think a huge part of why Jason Momoa is so attractive to me is his apparent attitude, right? Just being so laid back, being so chill, being kind of alternate. I like guys that are kind of different, you know. Maybe that's why I find Henry Cavill boring, is that he's just very, very much the eponymous, straight down the line, good-looking person. I don't know, like... Maybe that's why everyone says he looks like a Tom of Finland painting, right? Because Tom of Finland is, I assume, by the looks of it, just drawn to be a fantasy of what that person would look like. And that's what Henry Cavill is, right? It's that fantasy fulfillment of a very good-looking person. And I don't find that very interesting. Obviously, if Henry Cavill turned up at my door and was like, we're going for a drink then, I wouldn't be like, no, sorry, you're not interesting. But like when you're talking about celebrities, I think you can talk in a way, because it's never going to happen, you can be more objective about it, right? And before you say like, oh, but you have a boyfriend. If Henry Cavill turned up the door and said, can I take Jake for a drink? Ben would be like, yes. Take him. I find myself holding things so delicately because I don't want to get paint or anything. I could have to report back on to you once these are dry about whether it works to just slop loads on and scratch it off afterwards to neaten it up, because there's a lot of this on it now. I think this brush needs cleaning. Can you clean nail varnish brushes? Can you do that? They certainly look glossier. Whether they'll dry like that, I don't know. Can you buff them once it's painted? Can you buff the paint? I don't have a nail buff, so that's a silly question. Not even worth it, is it? To ask, I mean. It might be worth it to buff it. I don't know, because I won't be able to try it. You guys should leave me your boy crushes, or man crushes, I should be saying, in the comments. I've never been super into music, so like musicians have never really done it for me. Like, I know that there are very good looking musicians, but in terms of like that emotional attachment, no. Like I don't crush on musicians in the same way that I might crush on like, I don't know, someone funny or whatever. I think that is all I can do, really. Because now I'd have to wait for this to dry. And I'm not just going to keep talking about nothing for 20 minutes. I will see you guys soon. Thanks for hanging out with me, just doing my little ramble. And I hope you guys are relaxed. I will see you soon. Okay, bye.